He is the founder and president of World Compassion Terry Law Ministries. Terry, thanks for joining us today. Tell me a little bit about Pastor Jamal. How did you first meet him?
We met him probably 4 or 5 years ago in Kurdistan, Gary. He's a pastor. He had a heart for bringing Muslims to Jesus. He himself was a Muslim who had converted to Christianity back in the 90s. And he had a very effective work. And he particularly loved to work with us in our humanitarian outreach. We, over the years, have put in probably over $2 million of aid in food and Bibles, literature, shoes for children, things like that. And Jamal was particularly active in helping us get these to refugee villagers, to towns around about the Hook where he lived. And we had been in what is known in the Bible as Nineveh. We've been just outside of Mosul and about 15 miles outside delivering shoes to an orphanage. There was a little girl, I remember, in the orphanage who, after we gave her the shoes, wouldn't put them on. And I had Jamal ask her why she wouldn't wear them. And she said, I don't want to get them dirty. She'd never had a new pair of shoes before. So Jamal was active with us over several years in making contacts like this. And it was during that time that nearby villagers saw him and I believe brought accusations against him. And that led to his imprisonment on July the 6th, 2011.
Now, is he an Iranian or he was charged with spying for Iran? Tell us about that.
The charge was that, Gary, nobody can prove it one way or the other, and we did not appeal for his release on the basis of false charges. We knew that he had a brain tumor. I had taken him to a hospital in Amman, Jordan, and they had done some laser surgery on the tumor shortly before his imprisonment. So when we appealed for him, we did not do it on guilty or innocent. We did it purely on the basis that the man was probably going to die, and on a humanitarian basis, we pled with the authorities there to turn him loose.
Terry, I know in many cases when people are evangelizing Muslims and converting them to Christianity, rather than being arrested on those charges, generally there's some other trumped-up charge or false accusation. Do you think this was the case with Pastor Jamal?
I think it's a possibility, Gary. I have no proof of it, and I'm just leaving that lie. We are very, very grateful to the Kurdish government for releasing our man, and I want to keep it on a positive record because we want to help them in every way we can in the days lying ahead.
Okay, well, tell me then, how was it that you were able to get in a position in Kurdistan, in northern Iraq, to appeal for the release of Pastor Jamal?
I have a very good friend in the U.S. Senate. His name is Senator Jim Inhofe. Jim represents Tulsa. He's an Oklahoma senator. And I learned through a friend the power of senators. They may be 100 of the most powerful men in the world in terms of their ability to influence governments, etc. So I asked Senator Inhofe to write a letter for me directly to Netravan Barzani, who is the Prime Minister of Kurdistan, requesting on a humanitarian basis that Jamal be released. So when I went into Kurdistan, I took a letter with me to deliver directly to the Prime Minister. However, when I got there with the letter, my friend Joel was with me, nobody had seen the letter, and the people surrounding the Prime Minister had kept him unaware of the fact that any letter had been written. So we had to start from square one when we landed in Erbil.
And obviously a letter from a U.S. senator. America has a lot of influence there because we helped liberate them from Saddam Hussein, who tried to commit genocide against the Kurdish people. That carried a lot of weight, did it not?
Oh, yes. When they actually the government leaders actually saw the letter. It had great impact. When I met Karim Sanjari, the Minister of the Interior, he told me to tell America and the world that Kurdistan is America's success story in Iraq. In southern Iraq, as you know, Sunni and Shia are battling it out, but in Kurdistan, in the north, there is a genuine openness in their constitution. They have declared that people can become Christians. They will not prosecute for proselytization, etc. This is probably the brightest spot in the entire Middle East that I'm aware of, especially during this time of what we're calling the Arab Spring.
Terry, I have not heard of any Middle Eastern leader making that type of statement, saying, come on in, if you want to convert to some other faith, you're free to do that. I mean, that's unheard of for Muslim leaders to be saying that type of thing. Do you believe he's sincere?
Oh, I believe absolutely he's sincere. I found Karim Sanjari to be a man of his word. He did what he said he would do for me. What is amazing about it, Gary, is the fact that they could not overrule what the courts and the judges had said. He said the only hope we have in releasing Jamal is for a what they called a private amnesty. In America, we would call it a presidential pardon. And knowing that Masoud Barzani, who is the president of Kurdistan, is a devout Muslim, the fact that he would issue that kind of a decree, I really didn't have a whole lot of hope for it. But after we left Kurdistan, we waited for, I think, 43 days before the final email came saying that a presidential pardon had been issued. Jamal had been released from prison. I think it was 3:30 on April the 4th. His wife picked him up, and we moved them to a place of safety immediately, and then flew them out of Kurdistan into Europe to examine the tumor that he had before he went into the prison. We were very concerned for his health.
Well, concerning his prison experience, Terry, did he tell you anything about what he experienced while in prison? How was he treated? What was the medical care like? Anything like that?
There wasn't a whole lot of medical care there, Gary. I went into the prison to see him before I met Karim Sanjari, the Minister of the Interior. It was an emotional moment. I hadn't seen Jamal for probably 2 years. He did not know I was in town. And when we showed up at the prison warden's office, they agreed to bring Jamal to the room. And when he saw me, he was totally startled. And he said, Teddy Law, you come back, you come back. It was a very emotional moment. He ran across the room. He grabbed me. He's a big man. He picked me up. He kissed me on both cheeks, and he began to weep. It was a very emotional moment. And I asked the warden if we could please go back into a place of privacy. He gave us his office over to the side, and we were able to talk to Jamal. The prison situation that I looked at was clean. He was allowed to exercise in the yard. I'm not aware of extreme torture tactics. I think they treated him well. They also knew he was a person of interest in the West. And I'm sure the fact that we had raised some concerns beforehand with the Kurdish government made him a person that they treated very well.
And Terry, how have you seen God's hand in this entire situation, in him getting his freedom?
Well, when we walked in to meet Karim Sanjari, Jerry, I didn't know what to do. I'd never done this before. I'd never appealed for a man's life. He has a wife, 3 sons, and a daughter. And when I walked into this palatial building to meet with the Minister of the Interior, Karim Sanjari, I had been praying. I wanted God's wisdom. It would have been easy to say, well, if you don't do something, we will broadcast this worldwide, and to use a scare tactic. But I really, after prayer, felt like I shouldn't approach it that way. I felt like we were offering the Kurdish government an opportunity to be shown around the world as a place of openness for the gospel. When Kareem Sinjari said, I know several hundred Muslims who have proselytized to Christianity, I couldn't believe my ears. It was shocking. And he said, we are going to demand freedom of religion here in the future. And again, it repeated that we are the American success story in Kurdistan. So when I approached him, I said, Minister Sinjari, you have an opportunity here for the world to find out about your freedom of religion. And if you do this, then I will do what I'm doing with you right now, Gary. I will tell the world that Christian businessmen can come to Kurdistan. They will be protected. Everything that I saw there indicated incredible advance. I went there 10 years ago, and to see the incredible economic change in the country, to see the fact that Christians are protected, there's no violence, terrorism is not allowed in any way. I think this is the one spot in the Middle East where we can have an incredible effect if we'll respond to the call right now. And that's what we're planning to do.
And Terry, I've been there a couple of times myself. It's a remarkable success story. And concerning Pastor Jamal, what are his needs right now? How can we pray for him?
Well, first of all, Gary, I've got an incredible thing to announce. I found out a day and a half ago that in the European city where we took Jamal, we've had three, what do you call it? There would be neurosurgeons or people who understand brain tumors. They've given him an MRI. They've examined him from every direction. And the incredible report is that he does not have a brain tumor. When we took him to the hospital in Jordan, they, I think it was a gamma knife or something like that, the doctors understand, that isolated the tumor in his brain, and it is totally dead. The reason he was suffering extreme headaches had nothing to do with the tumor, which we had naturally assumed, as did the Kurdish government. So we found out that there are 3 nodes in his sinuses that have caused the pain. They can be treated very well medically. So Jamal is not a sick man. He is a well man about to have an open door to do what the Lord has for him in the future. It's an unbelievable story.
Well, we'll keep him in prayer, and God bless your ministry, Terry, and what you're doing in Iraq and elsewhere around the world. I've witnessed it. I've been with you. I've seen it firsthand. So God bless what you're doing, and thanks so much for being with us. Dr. Terry Law, World Compassion out of Tulsa.
Thank you, Gary.